Make sure you guys smash that subscribe button if you guys are fans of the content being posted onto this channel to always be in the loop with more content similar to this, and be sure to hit the video up with a like if you're enjoying the content. And with that being said, let's begin. So with Godzilla vs. Kong having to make waves in literally creating a shockwave all throughout the community, the movie is 2 months away and the entire fandom is seemingly speculating and theorizing as to the overall idea of having MechaGodzilla be included, because if all else, the trailer does confirm that MechaGodzilla will in fact be involved in the fight with Kong and Godzilla. However, the only question that lingers is, at what point are we going to finally discover that MechaGodzilla is going to be a factor in this battle in squaring off against Kong and Godzilla? Now, there are many factors to this overall theory in the idea that perhaps maybe MechaGodzilla could be masking himself in kind of being cloaked and masked as being Godzilla, because what's well established in this trailer is nobody seems to know why Godzilla is attacking people and why Godzilla is committing acts of rampage. But this here is another clear-cut example of Godzilla's dorsal fins having to look a lot bulkier and a lot wider in this film than what we've seen go down in King of the Monsters. Now again, when looking at Godzilla's size, when looking at his overall behavior, something seems to be a bit off here. Joining me here today to further discuss the concept of Godzilla vs. Kong vs. MechaGodzilla is my good friend and YouTuber Marcanine. Now Mark, the entire fandom right now is torn apart because everyone is either on Godzilla's side, on Kong's side, or even on MechaGodzilla's side, which we all know MechaGodzilla isn't going to win. But what I wanted to ask you is, at what point do you believe that MechaGodzilla is going to be revealed and showcased in this movie? Because if what Kong is fighting right now isn't the actual Godzilla, then is it considerable to say that at some point we are going to see the real Godzilla emerge and help Kong out? Because we know that the licensing for Legendary is basically almost up with Godzilla, so the rights are going to return back to Toho, and Toho is planning on doing more Godzilla films, right? Not entirely sure if we're going to be seeing more Shin Godzilla movies, but needless to say, more Godzilla movies. But in your opinion, at what point do you think that MechaGodzilla is going to reveal himself to everyone? Because we've seen a glimpse of him in the trailer, but not really in any sort of action against Kong and or Godzilla. So in your opinion, what are your thoughts on MechaGodzilla, and is he disguising himself as Godzilla just like they've done back in the 1970s?
So I rewatched the trailer and I'm trying to nitpick a little bit. There's a lot of things that you caught that I didn't, that I'm sure we're going to touch base on in this discussion. But the first thing that I noticed, let me just say, the first thing that I noticed about the trailer when I first watched it was the really awesome, like, sort of cyberpunk-esque looking Japan, I think is what it is, possibly, the way the buildings all look. That's the first thing that stood out to me. And I noticed that Godzilla was walking around that, like, sort of very carefully, and I was like, that's weird. Like, why would Godzilla walk around so carefully to avoid, like, destroying a lot of this stuff? Now, granted, the movie's going to show a lot of, like, chaos and destruction. I know that's going to be the case, but that was the first thing that stood out to me. I was like, you know what? If Godzilla is trying to kill Kong, like, I don't think he's going to care that much about any sort of collateral damage. So it seemed like it was very selective about him not destroying that stuff. That seemed very odd to me. So then after we started talking about it, I feel like this might be a way to sort of appease fans of both sides of Godzilla and Kong. It's to sort of set it up to make it look like that this is like Godzilla and Kong fighting to the death, and then there would be one winner. But I think instead what they're going to do is flip it, and it is going to be MechaGodzilla. So you pointed out a couple things in the trailer that show that this is very clearly a MechaGodzilla going on in some form. But we're so used to seeing MechaGodzilla in like a metallic exoskeleton that at least my brain didn't immediately think like, okay, maybe they replicated some of Godzilla's like skin cells or whatever, kind of like a Terminator thing, which is what I think they've kind of done here. Is they've taken the Terminator and put like real looking skin and prosthetics like around the body, and underneath it is the metal skeleton. That's what I think is the case. And the reason why I bring up the way that Godzilla moved during the trailer is because it's like, it seemed too self-aware to not be so destructive, like carefully like stepping and stuff. It's not until King Kong jumps on top of Godzilla and they start like wrestling around that there's a lot of destruction, because he's countering Kong's attack. Now Kong is not an idiot. I mean, he's a beast, but he's as smart as I think a beast could be in that way. But when it comes down to fighting, I mean, he's just sort of countering that attack. And Kong is probably going to be a little bit more careful to destroy humans. But then when he's got that one-track mind attacking Godzilla, he's probably not going to care as much. So what I'm saying is it felt like maybe there was some sort of human influence on the way that he was moving. And that's what thought to me. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but that's what my first thought was on that front. So I think a reasonable approach to this is to think about, like, okay, one, the humans in the trailer are aware of Godzilla's existence. They know him and they seem to be surprised by what he's doing. So either Godzilla is reacting to something or it's not Godzilla and we just think it is. And it looks like there might be two different sets of humans working behind the scenes in this trailer. One that is aware of Godzilla, that is surprised by this, and two, maybe some that actually know a little bit more about what's going on. Either way, we're led to believe that the Godzilla we see in the trailer is the real one. I think maybe the trailer could have been carefully edited to include both. I think maybe there's partly a real Godzilla here and then maybe a MechaGodzilla as well. It's hard to say. I think the trailer shows probably both, but I think a real Godzilla will show up at some point, but the MechaGodzilla is the one that's mostly fighting Kong, unless Kong got confused and saw the real Godzilla and then attacked him too, and then Godzilla's like, yo, like, what the heck, like, I'm here to fight MechaGodzilla, but you think I'm, you know what I mean? Like, so I think there's a lot of confusion between who's fighting, the various human groups as well, and what is intended to be an outcome between these monsters, because there's just so much going on with this doppelganger or imposter. But I do 100% think that this MechaGodzilla is going to be sort of a surprise with a Godzilla-like skin around him to kind of keep us guessing.
I honestly believe that at some point during this film, Kong is going to smash his way through, and if MechaGodzilla is being cloaked or masked under the real Godzilla skin, or, you know, by some means having to kind of gloss over him and paint him over as being Godzilla, then that's going to really pique a lot of people's interest, including Kong, who is going to observe this and say something's not right. This isn't, you know, the monster that I was fighting. This looks to be mechanical, right? So I think that Kong is going to really smash Godzilla into pieces, either with his weapon or something as a means in revealing to everyone, like, yo, even though he quote-unquote, you know, tore a piece of his flesh off or something, it's not really flesh, it just seems to be cloaked under, and there's a machine under this beast. So do you think that perhaps that's going to be the narrative? And when it implies that someone's going to fall, does that imply that in fact one of them will fall? Do you think that perhaps maybe they're meaning that MechaGodzilla is going to fall and Kong and Godzilla are going to go their separate ways? Because let's not forget what versus movies tend to do. They never tend to give us a definitive winner, right? Batman vs. Superman never gave us a clear-cut winner. Freddy vs. Jason never gave us a clear-cut winner. We had Alien vs. Predator, never gave us a clear-cut winner, right? There's always some caveat added to where they don't want to piss off one side of the fan base. So in your opinion, who do you think is going to be the one to fall? And what are your thoughts on Kong basically smashing his way through Godzilla only to discover, hey, you're not really Godzilla, you're just a massive machine?
I think we're going to get that same formula. I do not think that they're going to have a clear winner. I think that they're doing exactly what you said. I think they're going to make sure that there is one surprise enemy, and that's the one that they're referencing. I do not believe that they're going to allow Godzilla to fall at the hands of Kong. I think most people would be looking at this kind of like as a massive clash between two franchises that have crossed over. I think Freddy vs. Jason is a perfect example of that, where there's upper hands and lower hands, advantages, disadvantages throughout, but ultimately at the very end, it's irrelevant. There's another element in place that has their attention, and that sort of gets in the way of finding out who would actually win in a fight. I've seen debates, and we've had discussions about it. I think you and I, for the most part, are on the same page that Godzilla would likely be the winner, or I'm sorry, King Kong would likely be the winner of the fight between Godzilla and Kong. So I think there's a truth to what you said. What you outlined is exactly what I think is going to happen. I think MechaGodzilla is going to be the enemy, and I think that's going to be the one that falls. I think maybe you could argue that perhaps MechaGodzilla could be just as strong as Godzilla, or maybe superior, and Kong beats him, so that sort of gives Kong like the win, but Kong and the real Godzilla don't actually battle in a test of might to see who would win. Maybe it's just thought like, okay, well, if King Kong beat MechaGodzilla and maybe he's just as good or better than Godzilla, then that proves that he's tougher, maybe. But you don't kill Godzilla. So, but I don't know if they're going to do that. All I know for sure is it's exactly what you said. They're not going to pick a clear winner. The battle is going to be fun. It's going to be epic. It's going to be full of CGI destruction. It's going to be rad, but I don't think it's going to be a clear individual who comes out on top. And I think MechaGodzilla is going to be the one that they're referencing as that this one has to fall. I would almost guarantee.
So lastly, what I wanted to ask you and everybody watching this video is, towards the end, do you see it to where it's going to be Kong versus MechaGodzilla all the way through and having the real one appear at the end? Or is it really going to be Kong versus the real Godzilla before MechaGodzilla steps in at the end? Because I would really hate it if it's MechaGodzilla in the end, because you already know that he's about to get, you know, thrashed by both Godzilla and Kong. Because if those two team up to fight MechaGodzilla, I'm sorry, but I don't see MechaGodzilla standing a chance, because you have two alpha predators just tearing you down. There's no way I think that the MechaGodzilla model is going to be able to survive. So I would much rather have it to where the real Godzilla appears at the end perhaps, or maybe they might do a switcheroo to where in between portions of the movie, Kong is going to be fighting the real Godzilla and the fake one. So in your opinion, what are your overall thoughts on the way this could go by switching the real one and the fake one in and out?
I think first and foremost, we need to understand, or at least we need to get to a point where we know what sort of role MechaGodzilla has. Like, my understanding from the past, and it's been a long time since I've seen MechaGodzilla in his movies, but he's supposed to be in the place of the bad guy, because we're rooting for Godzilla, we're rooting for the others. Whether or not they're doing that this time isn't entirely clear. I mean, if you look at the trailer, there's obviously presence of MechaGodzilla based on what you can see there, and it's likely that he's causing destruction, but we don't really know why or what the purpose is. If I had to make a guess, I mean, we could assume that some sort of organization, some syndicate, or some sort of military faction is trying to weaponize Godzilla. Maybe they're, I don't know, using his DNA, or maybe they're just trying to study him. Maybe they want to use that sort of power and weaponize it. I don't know. Like, it's not entirely clear what the case is. I would be surprised if it was just to see like who would win in a fight, and so they initiate that, and then Godzilla shows up and I don't know. This is just a purely opinionated based on what we see, what we think could happen, and I think that needs to be clear, because I can't assert myself in a position and say this is exactly what's going to happen, or be overly confident, because we could be easily proven wrong. I feel like regardless of what the scenario and the outcome is to this, MechaGodzilla is going to be the bad guy. The humans are going to be the bad guy, doing the bad thing, trying to use the technology and maybe the research and studies of Godzilla to create this abomination of a creature, and as a result, it's causing pandemonium, and Kong takes it down. I think I agree with you there too, though it would be stupid if for whatever reason they decide to use that as a trump card and pull out MechaGodzilla towards the third act and then he gets bodied. I think that'd be kind of dumb. I feel like that would be a really expensive way for the characters to waste trillions of dollars probably to develop this giant robot Godzilla, only for it to be destroyed instantly. Like, what a waste. But I don't know, like when you build something like that, like from their perspective, how else do you test it? You literally have to fight the monsters that it's sort of stacked up against. So I don't know. I don't think having that character in the third act be introduced is very wise. I think maybe for showing a trailer like this already and having tons of evidence that MechaGodzilla is present, I hope that he would have more of sort of a plot twist. But I think it's going to ultimately be a tag team where MechaGodzilla is just like too strong and they come together and fight him or something. But like you said as well, I think, yeah, Godzilla is going to do some crazy like haymaker, or he's going to grab like a crane and he's going to use it as a hammer of some sort and smash into Godzilla, and it's going to reveal like a metal exoskeleton underneath his skin, or some red eyes are going to glow. Something is going to show that it's very clearly not a completely biological individual. It's going to be a metallic creature underneath the skin. That's if that is the case, which I do believe it's going to be. Yeah,
I think this movie's really going to be a blockbuster event to where nobody wants to miss out on, and I really hope that for the first time they give us an actual winner. I don't want to see this be dragged out to where they're trying to appeal to both fan bases. So in the comment section below, let us know who you think is going to win. Again, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for your time. If of course you guys are new to the channel, then I do encourage you guys to smash that subscribe button and give this video a big fat thumbs up by slapping that like button down below. Tune back in for more. Check out Marcanine's channel. I will leave Mark's channel located down in the description box below. Thank you all once more for being here, and we'll be seeing you all down the comment section below. Have a great day, everybody, and take care. Peace.